Okay, so you know Bitcoin, right? And you've almost certainly heard of Ethereum.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
But have you ever, stopped to think about the other, what is it, 20,000 plus cryptocurrencies out there?
It's a huge number.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're definitely going beyond the big two. We're going to plunge into the pretty wild world of altcoins.
That's right. Most people, their crypto journey starts with Bitcoin. Maybe they dip into Ethereum. But there's this whole other universe of alternative digital currencies. And, well, each one has its own story, its own purpose. Our goal today is really to help make sense of it all.
Exactly. We want to try and cut through some of the noise, give you a clear picture of what altcoins are, why there are so many, honestly, and how you, listening, can navigate this whole landscape without just feeling, completely overwhelmed. Think of this as maybe a shortcut, a way to get a real handle on this pretty significant part of crypto.
Okay, so let's start with the basics then.
Hmm.
An altcoin, what is it? Very simply, it's any cryptocurrency that isn't Bitcoin.
Simple enough.
But as you said, the sheer number over 20,000 and still counting that can feel, well, pretty daunting.
It really can. Maybe a good way to grasp it. Imagine Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of like the main operating systems, like iOS or Android on your phone.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Right. And then all those thousands of other altcoins, they're like the apps you download. Each one is sort of designed to do something specific, offer a function, maybe solve a problem the main OS doesn't really handle directly.
That's a great way to visualize it, actually. Bitcoin's big breakthrough, its original purpose, was peer-to-peer digital cash. Then Ethereum came along and, really revolutionized things with smart contracts.
Yes, the programmable money idea.
Exactly. These self-executing agreements written in code. That just opened up a whole new world for decentralized applications, or dApps.
Okay, let's dig a bit deeper into the why then. If Bitcoin gave us digital money, Ethereum gave us this platform for dApps. What drove this huge explosion of alternatives? What gaps were they trying to fill?
That's really the key question. Uh, Altcoins largely popped up to tackle what people saw as limitations in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and also to explore completely new ideas. Some are focused on things like, way faster transaction speeds.
Right, because Bitcoin can feel slow sometimes.
Definitely. Others prioritize, say, enhanced privacy for users. Lots aimed for lower transaction fees, especially as Ethereum fees got high sometimes. And beyond those kinds of fundamental improvements, you started seeing altcoins built for very specific things, moving past that one-size-fits-all idea.
So it's like seeing a need or maybe a weakness in the existing crypto world and saying, okay, let's build a custom crypto solution for that. Makes sense. Now, within this huge universe, there are definitely some bigger names that you hear more often. Can we maybe spotlight a few of those, get a clearer idea of what they're actually trying to do?
Absolutely. Let's start with one people often mention, Ripple, or XRP. What's really interesting about XRP is its very specific focus. Fast, cheap, cross-border payments.
Okay, like sending money internationally.
Exactly. But here's the twist. Unlike Bitcoin's original vibe, which was kind of anti-establishment, disrupting banks, Ripple's stated goal is actually to work with the existing banks and financial institutions to help them upgrade their systems for sending money globally.
Huh. That's a really fundamental difference in approach, isn't it? Not replace, but integrate.
Yeah, totally different mindset.
Okay, what about Litecoin? That's another one that comes up a lot, LTC.
Right, Litecoin, often called the silver to Bitcoin's gold. That nickname kind of hints at its purpose. It was designed from the start to be a faster, maybe lighter version of Bitcoin, more for everyday use.
Lighter, how?
Well, technically, it shares a similar structure to Bitcoin, but it has much quicker block times. Think of block time as how long it takes to confirm a batch of transactions on the network. Faster blocks mean faster confirmations, usually lower fees too. So the idea was, yeah, make something better suited for smaller, everyday purchases.
Gotcha. So if Bitcoin is aiming to be this digital store of value, like digital gold, Litecoin was meant to be more like digital cash for your coffee. Interesting. Now, I've also heard about Cardano, ADA, and Polkadot, DOT. They seem to be in that smart contract space, like Ethereum. What makes them different?
You're right, they're both smart contract platforms, so yeah, competing in a similar area to Ethereum.
Hmm.
But Cardano and Polkadot came along with a really strong focus on scalability and long-term sustainability.
Scalability meaning handling lots more users and transactions.
Exactly. They were sort of tackling that big question. How do we build this tech so it can actually work on a global scale and stay robust and adaptable? dealing with network jams, environmental worries, or even getting different blockchains to talk to each other. Cardano, for instance, took a very research-heavy academic approach to its development. Polkadot, on the other hand, really emphasizes interoperability, letting totally separate blockchains connect and share data securely.
That long-term thinking, the how do we make this actually work at scale
Mhm.
perspective, that seems super important as crypto tries to mature and face real-world use.
Definitely.
And then there's Solana, SOL, that one's generated a lot of buzz, especially around dApps and NFTs.
Solana definitely made waves. Its whole design is engineered for speed, like
Yeah.
really high performance. It aims to handle a massive volume of transactions very, very quickly and cheaply too.
Which makes it appealing for,
For developers building complex decentralized apps and yeah, for the whole NFT market, which needs fast, cheap minting and trading. But, and this is important, it's also had its share of network outages, times when the whole thing just stopped working.
oh, right, I remember hearing about that.
So that raises questions, about the trade-offs maybe between hitting that top speed and maintaining rock-solid reliability all the time.
Wow. So even just looking at those few examples, what strikes me is the sheer variety. Different goals, different tech, different trade-offs, but it does lead to the big question, the one I bet a lot of listeners are thinking. With thousands of these altcoins, are they all genuinely bringing something valuable? Are they all useful?
Okay, let's be really clear here. The answer is unequivocally no. Not even close.
Right. I suspected as much.
If you really break down the altcoin landscape, you find this whole spectrum. At one end, yeah, you've got outright scams, just designed to take people's money. Then there's a huge number of coins that are basically just copies, clones of other coins with tiny, often meaningless tweaks.
Like changing the logo.
Sometimes not much more than that, yeah. Then you have the joke coins or meme coins, like Dogecoin is the classic example. Started as a literal internet meme, but can get these crazy surges in popularity, usually driven by social media hype, not much else.
Right. The meme stocks of crypto, kind of.
Sort of, yeah. And then finally, you do have the serious projects, the ones with actual dedicated teams behind them. They usually have a clear vision, a white paper outlining what they want to do, and they're making genuine attempts to solve real problems using blockchain.
Okay, that's a stark but really important breakdown. The vast majority probably aren't the next Bitcoin. So for someone trying to make sense of this, trying to navigate, what are some key things to look for? How do you even begin to distinguish the hype from something with actual substance?
This is where you need to put your critical thinking hat on. First, really try to understand the specific problem the altcoin says it's solving. Is it a real problem, like in the actual world? And does using crypto or blockchain seem like a genuinely better way to solve it?
Yeah.
Or just tech for tech's sake?
Okay, so step one, does it actually solve a real problem in a meaningful way?
Exactly. Second, investigate the team. Who are the people building this? Are they public? Is there information out there, sometimes called being doxed? What's their background? Do they have experience in tech, finance, whatever's relevant? What's their track record look like?
That makes total sense. Knowing who's behind the curtain. Right. If they're hiding, maybe that's a red flag. What else?
Real-world utility. This is a big one. Does the project actually do anything yet? Or is it all just theory and promises on a slick website? Is there any evidence of adoption? Even early signs? Or at least a clear, believable path for how it could be used practically?
Beyond just trading the token itself.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And finally, look at the community around it. Is there an active group of users, developers, people discussing it? Are people actually using the tech, building on it, having real conversations about where it's going? A strong, engaged community in crypto can often be a good sign. It shows people believe in it and are invested beyond just the price.
So it's this combination then. The problem, the team's credibility, the actual usefulness, and the community buzz, or rather the community activity. That's a much better framework than just chasing pumps on social media.
Exactly. Because let's be honest, the altcoin space, as some people say, it really is a bit like the Wild West of crypto.
Yeah.
There's huge potential for innovation, absolutely. Amazing things could come out of it. But it's also incredibly volatile. And there's a very, very real risk of losing a lot of money if you're not careful.
So the takeaway message here seems to be, if you're even thinking about getting into altcoins, that deep research isn't just like a good idea. It's absolutely essential, non-negotiable. You can't just jump on a trend you saw on Twitter or because you have FOMO.
That's absolutely right. The core principle really has to be understand what you're actually buying. Understand the project, the tech, the risks. Don't just get swayed by hype or promises of quick riches. Take the time. Dig in.
And it's clear the whole crypto space just keeps evolving so fast. Altcoins are really kind of the R&D lab, aren't they? Pushing boundaries, exploring all these different directions.
Exactly. They represent this massive ongoing experiment. Each one is testing different designs, different trade-offs, trying to find new ways this tech could actually be useful in the real world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe here's a final thought for everyone listening. Think about the world around you, the financial system, technology, whatever. What problems or, I don't know, inefficiencies do you see? Can you imagine a way a novel cryptocurrency, maybe one that doesn't even exist yet, could potentially address one of those issues? What gaps are out there that maybe decentralized tech could fill? Engaging with that kind of thinking, asking those questions, that might be the best way to really start understanding this fascinating and, yeah, complicated world of altcoins.